ask you about Kamala Harris. How you feel about her?
She's a piece of shit. I was in California. She lacked professional competence, and she worked on it by hiking up her hemline when she needed influence rather than researching. I was out in California for 15 years doing my show when she was at her peak, and she had a reputation amongst the trial lawyers of being lazy. She just hike her skirt up and try to flirt, and she wasn't that good in the courtroom, if not pretty bad in the courtroom. So I'm not surprised at what she does. She's 60 years old, and I think listening to her word salad and the way she talks, I think she's got early onset dementia and also some problems with menopausal complications. That's that, you see, today is going to be tomorrow. So since it's going to be tomorrow, today we have tomorrow, which is why we are now. Like, what did you say? They have something in mind, but they cannot cognate getting all the way through it, which is why she's famous for this word salad garbage, and she doesn't make a bit of sense. I think since she's only 60, she's actually on a worse track than Biden was. Biden is 20 some years older than her, and he has been senile for a long time. Now, about 5 or 6 years ago, when did they start ramping up to do this? 2019. Okay, I was saying Biden has been a failure his whole adult career, a second-rate, third-string player.
Damn, why is George Joe Brown going in on these people like that? Like, this is crazy. Like, he is feeling so many kinds of ways apparently about these people for him to go in the way he's going in. This is crazy to me. Let's get back into this and see what else he got to say.
He's in the game, so he wants to make a name for himself. I considered him for years poor urban trailer park trash. And he's a crook. He's a third stringer. Now, what I said he was going to do is he probably wants to claim fame for being the first person to see to it that a woman got to be president. And what I predicted, I'm slightly wrong on it, was that he was going to get in, try to get elected, and if he got one term, try to get elected for a second one. And then halfway through his term, when he had served 2 years, to retire or resign in her favor. So under the 22nd Amendment, what happens is she can serve for the final 2 years for somebody and then be elected twice more. So that woman would be able to serve 10 years, second only to Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who got elected to 4 terms before they put the amendment in place so you couldn't. Now, that said, I think, and my major at UCLA was political science.
Wait a minute, now that's a hell of a strategy. So let's unpack what he said. He said that he thinks the strategy initially was Biden would serve 2 years out of his 4-year term, then step down, let Kamala run the other 2 years, then run for her first official term as president, which would be 4 years, and then run for re-election, which for another 4 years, which would then give her 10 years. And then Joe Biden's credit in history would be putting the first woman of color in as president. That's what that strategy was. That's really, really interesting. But anyway, let's see what else Joe got to say.
So my analysis is they picked the weakest somebody they could as a figurehead, somebody who had some apparent minority status, which she does not. And what goes on is that you get her, everybody that is everybody would be afraid to go against her because of what she can pass herself off as. And then you get somebody that's easy to control because she's lazy, because she is becoming incoherent, and because she's always tried to do the casting couch to get where she wants.
Not the casting couch. I mean, damn, Judge. Like, you just saying anything about her. Like, for real? Like, the casting couch. She hiking hemlines. I mean, I ain't gonna front, though. Back in the day, you know, VP Harris was... All right, I ain't gonna do all that right now, but I might do it later.
Now, the problem is that'll get somebody to a certain level quickly. But you can't get past that level if you don't have competence and talent. So my thing about it is if I'm crude about it, in this city years ago, I used to represent a whole bunch of pimps and hoes, and I know a hoe when I see one. And I say this, I don't care, women, you do what you want to do if you want to have recreational sex, but when you do the casting couch or anything else for professional purposes to get paid or advance, you a hoe. And she's old hoe.
Oh,
and
shit.
The problem is,
oh, shit. Come on, Judge. Like, he said, she's a hoe. She's a old hoe. I mean, all right, look, I ain't finna hoe shame. Hoes for Harris 2024. No, I'm not gonna hoe shame. You know, I get it. Cause you got some women who they just love sex. That's what they like. And then you got some women that use what they got to get ahead. Use your superpower. We all supposed to have them. If you got daddy money or mama money, you come from money, or you have higher levels of education, or you're highly charismatic, you're funny, you know, you're attractive, use what you got to get ahead. I ain't even mad at that. And if you sleep your way to the top, if that's what it is, go ahead. But here's my concern. Let's think about an airplane here. If you get the last seat in the plane, and then you hike up your hemline or do the casting couch or whatever, you hold your way to first class. I ain't mad at that. Go ahead. Go ahead. Do you, boo-boo? Go get it. Go get up in there. Now, don't you hold your way to the captain's seat, and now you got to fly this plane and land this plane with all us. Now I got a problem. It's like, you should have stayed in first class if you can't land this plane. Do the job. That's all I'm saying. Don't hold your way to the top and can't do the job. That's a problem. That's a big problem. But if you can do the job, I ain't even mad at it. You know what I'm saying? You got skills to pay the bills. Go on, twerk that thing.
Is what is she supposed to do? Somebody, one of her sycophant slaves, comes up and unwraps her in a carpet naked at Putin's feet, and he says, "Oh yeah, I'm Julius Caesar." He said, "No, I got better stuff here already. Plus, I don't want you anyway. You old woman. Get on up." You know, or Xi Jinping, is he supposed to be impressed? She's doing word salad. Well, we're here today because China and the U.S. are here today, and that's why we have to agree on what we're doing here today. Like, fool, what did you just say? You know, did you say anything? And
did you say anything?
And I've never seen such a salacious mess as I've seen out of her. I think a One West Bank. I had some pretty good properties out in California at one point in time. And I know I had 3 neighbors who had good properties. It was in a place called Ojai, California. And they got caught up about 15, 16 years ago, like a lot of people did, in that mortgage bundling scam stuff that was going on. And there was a bank called One West Bank responsible for it, which was owned by George Soros. The Mnuchin that you have out of the Obama administration was Mnuchin, who was the CEO of One West Bank. Well, there were approximately 1,200 counts of indictments returned against Mnuchin and One West Bank in various counties in California. Well, Mnuchin and Soros financed and arranged and sponsored Kamala to run for Attorney General of California. They got her elected. She got in, and using the authority she had, she promptly consolidated all 5,200 counts and dismissed them. And a couple of weeks later, Soros sold One West Bank for $4.2 billion.
Damn. We got to fact check that. Help me out, okay? Because we need to be sure what he's saying is true. He's saying a lot. Hold on. Let's listen to a little bit more before we wrap this up.
So after that, they got together and got her finance and got everything organized and made the connections for her, and she got elected to U.S. Senator. Willie Brown made the initial contacts and arrangements so she could get elected as district attorney for San Francisco. She didn't do a very good job. She had a reputation for giving out the stiffest sentences in the United States of America for simple possession of marijuana in San Francisco, for God's sakes. But it was only to young black men. She's not a parent, never had any children, but she went off on this campaign to lock parents up, some of whom actually were shown to have dropped their children off at the school, but they played hooky, so she was putting them in jail. I know.
Wow. That's a lot. That's a whole lot.
My in-laws now.
Listen, I don't know how much of this is true. It sounds cohesive. It sounds like it could be true. I really actually hope it's not, but this is Judge Joe Brown. What reason does he have to lie? In the comments, let's fact check this. Let's look into this. Now, I've had other viewers put in my comments that then I need to take a look at her record as AG, her record as district attorney. And I do know about Willie Brown stuff and some of this other stuff, but damn, man, this sounds so bad. And if she really on that, we got a problem. But I told myself I was going to give her a little bit more time to turn me around, to change my opinion on what's going on. But it seemed like every single day is getting crazier and crazier and crazier. But I'm going to give it to September 1st and see where we're at, because she's got time to speak and do some interviews and maybe give something compelling so I can understand where she's coming from and actually find something believable. Now, I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid. I get it. I get it. I'm just trying to give it a shot because I want to see what information these candidates can bring forward so we can make the best decision. Because it's not always about just because you don't like somebody, you don't want to hear anything that they're saying. Or just because you like somebody, you don't want to hear any negative things about it. None of our minds need to be made up until we go to the polls the day of election. So it behooves us to just listen to everything by everybody. Like my mom used to always say, take your corn and grind it in your own meal. So take all the information, process it yourself, and you figure out who you want to run the country that you live in. America's got its problems, but it's a great country. And we want to make it better. We want to make it better for everybody. And we need to know who we finna put in charge to do that, because we're living in a different time right now, and these next 4 years is crucial. This is probably the most important election of our lifetimes. And so we got to see who we finna put in office. All right. So I'm going to wrap it up for now. But remember, stay unlikely, be unstoppable. And I'm going to catch you on the next one.